Alfred Mccoy, Political Caricature. Let's take a glance at selected Philippine political caricature and Alfred Mccoy's Philippine cartoons. Political caricature of the American era 1900-1941. What is a caricature? A picture, description, or imitation of a person in which certain striking characteristics are exaggerated in order to create a comic or grotesque effect.
Political cartoons and caricature are a rather recent art form, which veered away from the classical art by exaggerating human features and poking fun at its subject. Such as gene art and technique became a part of the print media as a form of social and political commentary, which usually targets a person of power and authority.
Also, caricature cartoons become an effective tool of publicizing opinions through heavy use of symbolism, which is different from a verbose written editorial and opinion pieces. The unique way that a caricature represents opinion and captures the audience's imagination is a reason enough for historians to examine these political cartoons. It also commentaries in mass media inevitably shape public opinion, and such kind of opinion is worthy of historical examination.
Alfred W. Mccoy. He is born on June 8, 1945 in Massachusetts, USA. Citizenship is American. And here is Alfred Mccoy's background. A professor of history at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where he also served as director of Center for Southeast Asian Studies. Specialized in Philippine political history and globe opium trafficking. Majority of his works and research focuses on Philippines. Author of The Politics of Heroine in Southeast Asia, Philippine Cartoon, Closer Than Brothers, and Mary Moore.
Political Caricature of America Era 1900 to 1941. Awards earned: Philippines Catholic Mass Media Award, Best Book of the Year of 1985. Philippines National Book Award for History 1985. Author's background: Alfred Roses, artist-writer from Dion Roses clan in Philippine print media. Co-author of Political Caricature of America Era, known journalist in Manila.
Historical background of political caricature of the American era. During the American era, Philippine political cartoons gained full expression. Filipino artists recorded national attitudes towards the coming of the Americans as well as the changing mores and times. While the 377 cartoons compiled in this book speak for themselves. Historian Alfred Mccoy's extensive research in Philippine and American archives provides a comprehensive background not only to the cartoons but to the turbulent period as well.
The first example was established in the Independence on May 20, 1916. The cartoon shows a politician from Atondo named Dr. Santos passing his crown to his brother-in-law, Dr. Barcelona. A Filipino guy, or as depicted wearing salakot and barong Tagalog, was trying to stop Santos, telling the latter to stop giving Barcelona the crown because it is not his to begin with.
We say the price the Filipinos paid for the democracy modeled after the Americans. First, it seems that not Filipino politicians at the time did not understand well enough the accompanying democratic institutions and processes. This can be seen in the rising dynastic politics in Tondo, as depicted in the cartoon published by the Independent.
The second caricature was published by The Independent on 16th of June 1917. This was drawn by Fernando Amorsolo and was aimed as a commentary to the workings of Manila Police, at that period. Here, we see a Filipino child who stole a skinny chicken because he had nothing to eat. The police officer was relentlessly pursuing the said child. A man wearing a salakot labeled Juan de la Cruz was grabbing the officer, telling him to leave the small-time pickpockets and thieves and to turn at the great thieves instead. He was pointing to a huge warehouse containing bulks of rice, milk, and grocery products, which in short, the Chinese merchants. The cartoon illustrated the conditions of poor Filipinos in the Philippines. From the looks of it, nothing much has changed. For example, a cartoon depicted how police authorities oppressed petty Filipino criminals while turning a blind eye on hoarders who monopolize goods in their huge warehouses, where they meant to be the Chinese merchants.
The third cartoon. The third cartoon was a commentary on unprecedented cases of colorum automobiles in the city of streets. The Philippine Free Press published this commentary when fatal accidents involved colorum vehicles and taxis occurred too often already. Automobiles become a popular mode of transportation in the city and lead to the emergence of taxis. However, the laws and policy implementation was mediocre. This resulted in increasing colorum and unlicensed vehicles transporting people around the city. The rules governing the issuance of driver's license was lost and traffic police could not be bothered by rampant violations of traffic rules. This is a direct consequence of the drastic urbanization of the Philippine society.
The fourth cartoon depicts a cinema. A blown-up police officer was at the screen saying that couples are not allowed to neck and make love in the theater. Two youngsters looked horrified, while an older couple seemed to be amused. Mccoy called it the sexual revolution that occurred in the 1930s. Young people, as early as that period, disturbed the conservative Filipino mindset by engaging in daring activities in public places like cinemas. Here we can see how that period was the meeting point between the conservative past and the liberated future of the Philippines.
This cartoon was published by The Independent on November 27, 1950. Here we see the caricature of Uncle Sam riding a chariot pulled by Filipinos wearing school uniform. The Filipino boys were carrying American objects like baseball bats, whiskey, and boxing gloves. This cartoon was based on an event on 1907 when William Howard Taft was brought to the Manila Pier riding a chariot pulled by students of Liceo de Manila. It depicts how American controlled Filipinos through seemingly harmless American objects. By controlling their consciousness and mentality, Americans got to control and subjugate Filipinos.
I am the last supporter. The last cartoon was published by Lipong Calabao on 24 of August 1907. In the picture we can see Uncle Sam resuming parade of the politician and members of Progresista Party, while members of Nacionalista Party lock on and wait for their turn. This cartoon detects that patronage of the United States being coveted by politicians from either of the party. Patronage also become influential and powerful, not only between clients and patrons, but also between the newly formed political parties composed of the elite and the U.S. This was depicted in the cartoons where the U.S. represented by Uncle Sam provided dolly out of members of the Federalista, while the Nacionalista politicians lock out and wait for their turn. The essence of competing political parties to enforce choices among the voters was cancelled out. The problem continues up to the present, where politicians transfer from one party to another depending which party was powerful in a specific period of time.